EDC, you got it, my friend. You got it. This man's talk game, he got it down packed, because there were so many times throughout this pre-draft press conference, aka the Liars Luncheon. And if you didn't know about the Liars Luncheon, then you would think, oh man, that guy EDC, he got all the right answers for everything. And I mean, even if you do know it's the Liars Luncheon, he still got the right answers for everything, because there would be questions that he would be getting asked, and he would start to answer the question, but then he'd take you down a whole nother street. And it'd be like, oh man, where's he going with that? But he would still be giving you even more information, even though that information that he was giving you didn't pertain to the original question. So he distracted you. So I say, man, EDC, you're good, man. And you obviously been doing this for a very, very long time. But shout out to EDC and shout out to John Harbaugh, because today they had their yearly pre-draft press conference where they take on questions about the upcoming NFL draft, which is next week. And we got some big things happening for that, so y'all make sure y'all stay tuned for that so we can announce it shortly. But before we get into things, make sure you leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, turn the notifications on so you don't miss a single thing going on with our Baltimore Ravens. Now, EDC, in this press conference, it seemed like he might have actually still been dropping some hints about a possible draft day trade. And I know that a lot of us Ravens fans have been speculating about that for a long time, especially surrounding everything with Mark Andrews, because Mark Andrews has been a hot commodity. But I actually think it could go maybe a little past that. And what I mean when I say that, Eric DeCosta, when he was asked if he expects Mark Andrews to stay with the Baltimore Ravens this year, he said the following. He said, I never know what's going to happen. Mark Andrews is a warrior, and he's played his butt off for us. He's a great player. And I think we're in the business of keeping as many great players as we can. Now, what I took from that is, I mean, the very first words that he said, I never know what's going to happen. So to me, that lets me know anything's possible. Nothing's off the table. And, hey, if somebody wants to talk, we'll listen. But anything could happen. But also, where it said Mark Andrews is a warrior, he's played his butt off for us, that's past tense thing. Oh, that's present tense with him being a warrior, but he's played his butt off for us. That's past tense. So could that be sort of a farewell to Mark Andrews? And there was something that he said a couple of months ago that sort of sounded like a farewell to Mark Andrews, because he's talking about him. Oh, yeah, he's definitely going to be in the Ravens Ring of Honor and whatnot. I said, oh, man, you already ready to retire this man? But no, but then this part where he said, I think we're in the business of keeping as many great players as we can. Now that part, when he said that, it just sounded like, all right, Mark Andrews, he's a great player. Give me your best offer, because we only got a week left. Give me your best offer. I'm sure some teams have offered something, but maybe Eric DeCosta like, hey, that's not good enough. I want more. I want to try to get as much as I possibly can for a Mark Andrews trade that I can. But then at the same time, I thought, man, he did say anything is possible, and we know that anything is possible. So I also thought about the possibility, which I would hate, if Isaiah Likely was on the table as well. And if that was the case, that would be some scary stuff. But we know that this is a business. It's a business. So I know so many people are thinking, oh, well, yeah, Mark Andrews, he's definitely going to be the one that gets traded. But could the Baltimore Ravens actually hit us with a swerve and trade Isaiah Likely instead? I certainly hope not. Like, yeah, I want to keep everybody. I want everybody to stay. But it's something that just crossed my mind, because it's not out the realm of possibilities at all. But then it took it a step further it took it a step further for me personally. Because Eric DeCosta was asked about, oh, so how do you feel about the status of your edge group right now? And Eric DeCosta was like, well, yeah, we feel pretty good about it because we're getting everybody back. We didn't lose anybody. And when he said that, I said, ooh, you didn't lose anybody. At least not yet. You could lose somebody. You could move on from somebody. That's also a possibility. We remember that famous Adafe Away tweet from about a month ago when he put the deuces. And we were wondering, like, hey, what's happening with that? Still haven't got any clarity on it as of yet. But Adafe Away is a possible candidate. I certainly think David Ajabo whether trade if they traded a David Ajabo, they could maybe get like a fifth would be high in my opinion. I think if they could get a fifth for David Ajabo, I think that would be a steal for them with how everything's going thus far with him as a Baltimore Raven to this point. But if they get a sixth or seventh for David Ajabo, I think that would actually be more realistic. But I think a trade on that edge group, that is not out the realm of possibilities either. So it really did seem like EDC throughout this press conference, he was dropping a lot of hints. Now, something else that Eric DeCosta talked about, which I appreciate because he took a little shot at the Browns almost. Somebody asked him, like, how would you treat a two-way player? They asked him and Harbaugh, how would you, like, handle that? And Harbaugh was like, well, we would have him play one position. Like, and so he could specialize at that and whatnot. And Eric DeCosta was like, well, he said, you must be speaking about Travis Hunter. And I appreciated that, too, because we all knew that the reporter was asking about Travis Hunter, but Eric DeCosta said, let's just go ahead and put it out there. You talking about Travis Hunter. And he was like, well, we would really appreciate having somebody that talented, being able to draft him. He said, but then we would probably have to be in the top 5 to be drafting like that. So I was like, ooh, EDC, I like it because it's that little petty, throw a little jab at Cleveland because they most likely, it's not set in stone, but that's what people say, they most likely that they're going to draft Travis Hunter. So the Ravens will be seeing him at least 2 times a year. Stuff could change, but so we'll see what happens. But yeah, I appreciated Eric DeCosta throwing that little punch at Cleveland. Some other updates that Eric DeCosta dropped on us were with Ardarius Washington. His deadline is Friday to know if he'll be joining another team or not. And he said that that's not going to impact draft plans. Like, if you are potentially losing a starting safety, yeah, we know that's going to impact draft plans. But it's okay. It's live luncheon, so you got it, my friend. And he also talked about Super Duper Kyle and our guy Linda Flender, that with Kyle Hamilton and Tyler Linderbaum, that he will announce their 5th-year options or whatever they decide to do with that at a later time. Because, you know, Ravens, like, they like pushing stuff out way to the deadline. And I would assume that they will be working on contract extensions with both of those guys, that they will be trying to get deals done with each of them. But just in case they can't get anything done this year, they still got plenty of time to. Garrett Downing, he asked EDC a question that so many of us Ravens fans have talked about amongst ourselves a lot. And he said if EDC envisions using all 11 picks that he has or moving up and around in the draft with some of those picks. And EDC said, well, I'll be able to answer that question if I had a crystal ball, but I don't. But he did talk about how, and I appreciated this because he said he's going to use his picks, but most likely all 11, they probably won't all make the roster. And I was thinking, okay, EDC, like even though that's common knowledge, well, not necessarily common knowledge, but even though we understand that, I appreciated it coming from him because that lets it be known, like, hey, maybe you can come up off of some of those picks. You can move up, get a little more aggressive here and there. You see a player that you like, hey, you know what? Take them picks. I'm moving up because 11 is a lot. That's a lot. A lot of times, if you got 7 draft picks, some of them don't even make the roster. And we've seen it with the Baltimore Ravens plenty of times. It happens around the league. It's tough to make it. So with 11, that makes it even harder. Even though he did say, I look at these draft picks like, he didn't say capital. Oh, what was the word that he used? I know one of y'all will remember it, but basically he was saying he looks at them like money. I forget the word that he used though. Eric DeCosta has said it before. Like, the more chances you take at bat, the more chance you get to hit a home run. So I get that, but at the same time, is 11 a little overkill? Earlier today, we watched Eric DeCosta take questions from the media, but now we at my favorite part of the videos where we get to take questions from Team Keep It Clean. Let's get straight into it. First question came from Team Keep It Clean Patron, my guy Keyonte. And if any of y'all would like to become a Team Keep It Clean patron, you can go to patreon.com/Ingravenvids and you can send your question via DM right there. He said the following: been a while since I sent in a question or even watched a video. Ooh, that boy, hey, he kept it real. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. He said, I do apologize to Team Keep It Clean. Just started a new career, but the consistency starts back today. I got to get more consistent myself, as a matter of fact. We've been lacking in consistency with the videos, so my apologies for that. But hey, congratulations on your new career, my friend. Because he ain't say new job. He say new career. So give it up for our guy Keyonte. Get that money, my friend. He said, hope all has been well with you and the family. Engraven now, Jalen Ramsey wants to trade. Oh, yeah. He said Jalen Ramsey wants to trade an EDC. Better be calling night and day. A physical nickel outside corner, probably a better safety. A guy not afraid to tackle and really ink for a couple years. A third-round pick would be like candy for someone like Ramsey, especially in the Ravens defense. If that happens, I think it's a no-brainer to get James Pierce Jr. with the first-round pick and a wide receiver like Savion Williams or, Restrepo. From the U. Restrepo. Okay. He said, or Ayamanor from Stanford for that big body presence. I'm super excited for the draft. Hope to hear your thoughts. And do we get a round one draft live? Oh, we going to make the announcement on that really, really soon because we're going to be doing things very differently this year. But I'm sure a lot of y'all will certainly appreciate it. So we'll talk about that soon enough. But Jalen Ramsey would be fun. Jalen Ramsey would be nice. Jalen Ramsey would be like 21 mil. What's a whoa? Hey. But I wouldn't mind Jalen Ramsey just as long as if the Ravens could and the Dolphins could move the money around, they could work out the money part. Where the Dolphins could eat like a chunk of it, I wouldn't have no problems with it, like at all. And then you talked about James Pierce Jr. So getting a cornerback like Jalen Ramsey and getting a pass rusher too. Like James Pierce Jr., a productive pass rusher. And then he talked about wide receiver, Savion Williams or Restrepo. Restrepo just that boy just be working, man. If he would go to Miami, or go from Miami to the Ravens, then I mean, you sort of be a Florida Raven, right? Kind of, sort of. But yeah. As far as the last part, again, your last question: do we get a round one draft live? Yeah, it's gonna be more than live. Next question came from my guy Chazeray. He said, I know that we have a nice 1-2 punch with Derrick Henry and Justice Hill, but hear me out. What if we can get Chubb and a discount a year and have a punishing ground and pound series all season like we have against the Steelers when we ran 11 straight run plays down the field to score? Hey, I know some other people have brought this up a few times on here, adding Nick Chubb, and that would be crazy. That would be crazy, but Derrick Henry, Justice Hill, Keaton Mitchell, and Nick Chubb, you still got Rasheen Ali too. It's like, woo, like, man. You talk about, oh my goodness. I could imagine now if they were to do that, like on paper, yeah, we all think, oh yeah, that'd be cool. Having Nick Chubb, Derrick Henry, man, that'd be crazy. And then you still got Justice Hill, Keaton Mitchell. But I know so many people, they would be so frustrated with Todd Monken on how the different running backs got used, at the consistency or lack thereof of the consistency when it came to using the different running backs. People would hate Todd Monken. I already know. So be careful with this one. Anyway, he said, no, I'm not expecting Chubb to be old Chubb, but I do think he has more in the tank. And I know in the past our Ravens were just frustrated tackling him. Just think about him. Oh, yeah. Remember, especially in 2019. Remember that was it week 2? Or week 3? No. 2019 week 1 was the Dolphins. Week 2 was the Cardinals. It was either week 3 or week 4 when he went running crazy on us in Baltimore, by the way. Anyway, he said Henry breaks for 65 yards and comes out, and then boom, Chubb breaks it open for 35 yards. Henry can also rest some if needed with Chubb. And what are your thoughts? Look, for Madden, I wouldn't mind. Even for NFL, I wouldn't, because it would be crazy, like to have 4 starting running backs just sitting there. 4 of them that could ball, 4 of them that could make plays, 4 of them that could get that job done, man. That will keep everybody fresh like crazy. But I'm just thinking about, because again, we had 3 last year with 2.5 because Keaton Mitchell was in and out, but we had some last year and people were frustrated at Todd Monken. So if you add another to the mix, then okay. Next question came from my guy Jarvo. He said, listening to Jason, who was a guest on Purple Rain podcast. Shout out to my guy Jason. That's my guy for real, man. And shout out to Simply and Sutton. Those are my guys too, man. Love all 3 of them. He said, he mentioned us getting Starks in the first, but also mentioned a sleeper pick at edge by the name of Donovan Izaraku out of Boston College. Shout out to Zay. Yeah, that's true. Donovan has been compared to Elvis Dumervil. Ooh. Oh, that ain't a bad comparison at all. He said Jason considered him as a game wrecker. If Jason's saying that, then that means he is. That means he is. Because that boy Jason, he knows his stuff. He said he registered 17 sacks and a 6'2" with a 34-inch arm span. Jason mentioned him having all the arsenals and length, and he's also polished. That sound like a no-brainer to me. He said Jason said he will be the best pass rusher day one as a Raven. He mentioned James Pierce, but said his outside life and off the field consistent issues is a big red flag. Eric DeCosta talked about that today too, as far as some guys that they've taken off their board for off the field stuff. But as far as Donovan, if Jason's saying that, because he's somebody that I trust for sure, because that boy, he knows his stuff. He really does. Shout out to my guy Jason, man. He said also, Jason said, don't be shocked if Mark Andrews or Charlie Cola get traded this draft. I really want to keep Mark because dude is a baller regardless of his playoff woes. Wild how we bash and want him going for his playoff performances, but Lamar be doing the same, but that'll be for another conversation. He said, question for you is to give 3 draft predictions. Yeah, man, that would be something right there. But 3 draft predictions that the Baltimore Ravens, I'm going to give you number 1, that they draft defensive linemen with their first round pick. And as far as a trade, I still do think that somebody's going to be traded. Whether it's Mark Andrews, Charlie Cola that'd be an interesting one though, man. But because if they traded Charlie Cola, like I feel like that's the easiest one to keep. But because his contract is gonna be the lowest out of all of them. But I would say, you know what? I say they trade for Jalen Ramsey. So drafting defensive lineman first round pick, trading for Jalen Ramsey, and trading away Mark Andrews.